Hello people of the internet, I have been keeping something from you and I feel like it's time to speak up about it. And I'm gonna let this infomercial explain the whole situation.
This video is sponsored by Dell and NVIDIA GeForce RTX. Do you spend hours and hours editing without seeing daylight? Does your playback resolution look like the early version Minecraft? Do you often blame your computer for missing on your deadlines?
Well, I feel personally attacked now.
Meet the Dell XPS 17, packing a GeForce RTX 2060 GPU and 10th generation Intel Core processor. This laptop is built to handle many different creative workloads, from video and photo editing to 3D modeling. With the new update in Adobe Premiere Pro CC 2020, if you have an NVIDIA GTX or RTX GPU, you can now enable hardware encoding, which will use NVIDIA NVENC.
Okay, so...
This means you export 2 to 5 times faster with hardware encoding.
Can we just go back to Con in the studio so he can explain absolutely everything about this? Imagine a Premiere Pro where you can scrub through your footage smoothly and even edit with advanced multi-layer timelines with effects in real time without losing any frames. Well, that's a dream. Okay, so what's one of the biggest problems you can have as a content creator or an editor? You don't want to be sitting around for ages waiting something to render. If things happen in real time, it lets you try different things out as well as focusing on the creative process. You can dedicate extra time towards your craft instead of getting frustrated at the things that should work in the first place. And I'm pretty sure anybody who's touched an editing program can relate to this feeling of trying to edit a project and things aren't just going your way. Your computer's freezing up, your footage is lagging, you end up giving up. In this video, I'll go through some real life examples of my workflow and how it's helped me work to produce content for my channel as well as other content creators that I work with. So let me walk you through my current setup. This is my Dell XPS 17, powered by Intel's Core i7-10750H. It comes with a GeForce RTX 2060, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, 1 terabyte of M.2 SSD storage, and a beautiful 17-inch 4K 16:10 display. Usually with a bigger screen, laptops become a bit more bulky and harder to carry around. And in the past, I've avoided buying bigger models purely because of the portability factor. However, that's not the case with the Dell XPS 17. In fact, it has a gorgeous display that almost floats in air on thin bezels. The 17-inch display uses 16:10 aspect ratio. Now most laptops go with 16:9, but 16:10 allows for slightly more vertical space to work with, which is very welcome. On the left-hand side of the laptop, you'll find 2 USB-C ports, and on the right-hand side, there are another 2 USB-C ports, along with a 3.5mm headphone jack and an SD card reader. I can't stress enough how handy it is that this laptop has a built-in SD card reader. It means you don't have to carry any extra dongles with you. I actually love the fact that they'll include a free USB adapter that lets you have a USB-A access point, as well as a HDMI in input. I shoot most of my videos now on the Blackmagic 6K camera, and the recordings go directly straight onto a solid state drive. So once a shoot is done, I can connect all of the hard drives into this computer and copy and back up all of the footage that I've just been filming. Now, being able to create a backup of around 500 gigabytes worth of footage in a matter of minutes feels like a complete luxury, because I come from a time, wow, those are phrases that make you sound old. I started video production coming up to 10 years ago, and 10 years ago, having something like 15 megabyte write speeds used to be the norm. But now we've advanced further than that, and now you can get transfer speeds of up to 400 megabytes a second. I tend to move around from one location to another on a regular basis. So for me, having something portable that I can carry around with me but still packs a lot of power is very essential to me. The Dell XPS 17 is an NVIDIA Studio certified laptop. But what does that even mean? NVIDIA Studio is a program whereby NVIDIA work with laptop and system partners to design and test product to fit a creative professional's needs. So if you ever see this badge or the product description say NVIDIA Studios, it means you're ready to create some fire. It means that the components such as the memory, display, storage, GPU, CPU all fit the needs of a creative professional. So being a creative professional, that's at least what I like to call myself. I have personally been taking advantage of NVIDIA Studios in my workflow already. Let me show you a real life example of where NVIDIA Studio crushes the rendering speeds. This is a project file to a video many of you have seen before. This 4K project features a boatload of effects such as a warp stabilizer, lumetri color, linked After Effects files, and multi-layer overlays. Typically, before the big update, this 55-second timeline project would have taken 3 minutes and 30 seconds to export. And after we enable hardware accelerated encoding and decoding, the render only took 2 minutes and 20 seconds. NVENC is a physical chip on the GPU, and it's used for decoding and encoding footage. It enables things such as flawless 8K video playback and faster rendering times in video editing softwares. And with Adobe Premiere Pro version 14.2 or newer, video creators like myself gain massive time savings with new GPU accelerated encoding. Adobe and NVIDIA have optimized Premiere Pro for the built-in NVIDIA hardware encoder on NVIDIA GeForce GPUs. My workflow has drastically improved, and I'm able to play back my footage on higher resolutions on my timeline, as well as getting renders that are almost 50% faster. If you already have the right hardware, make sure to update to the latest NVIDIA Studio drivers, as well as the latest update of Premiere Pro, which is 14.2 or higher. Once you're all up to date, go ahead and open up Premiere Pro. This should come up as a default setting, but when you start a new project file, make sure you have the Mercury playback engine with a GPU acceleration selected. Next, you're going to head over to your preferences, and in the Media tab, tick the box that says Enable Hardware Acceleration Encoding and Decoding. Restart your computer and enjoy the new and improved settings. So yeah, the big news is us editors can now export videos much faster and in higher resolutions than you would with any CPU with popular codecs such as H.264 and H.265. You could tell I'm really impressed by this news. Honestly, it's gonna save me time. We love GPU acceleration out here. It's really allowing us to focus on the creative workflow instead of focusing on stuff not working and getting frustrated. Let's take the latest Sidemen Sunday game show as my recent piece of work that really benefited me from having hardware encoding. After every multicam shoot that I do that lasts for about 2 hours non-stop recording, I could be left with over 500 gigabytes of data, or on average about 10 hours worth of footage. This 5-camera setup was shot on a Wednesday. We rolled the cameras for 2 hours. Now my mission was to try and get this footage over to the editor as soon as possible. Meeting up with them to pass over a hard drive was not an option as they're based in LA. And transferring over 500 gigabytes worth of footage online can be risky. So what I do is I re-render the original clips into a more friendly file format that also gives us a smaller size. And my preferred delivery format is H.264. And on average, with the hardware acceleration enabled, it took around 30 minutes to render each clip at a lower res of 1080. This was 50% faster when compared to previous versions of Premiere Pro that didn't have any hardware acceleration enabled. Now, thanks to NVIDIA Studio's support, I was able to render out 10 hours worth of footage in under 2.5 hours. And by converting the footage to H.264 files, the total size went down from 500 gigabytes to 80 gigabytes, making it far more manageable to upload on a shared Google Drive folder. Now, not only does the NVIDIA software encoder work in Premiere Pro, but you can use it in Adobe Media Encoder, After Effects, and also Audition. It also helps with advanced AI features like auto reframe in Premiere Pro. A lot of the times we have footage that also needs to be used for social media, meaning it needs to be reframed. Traditionally, you'd have to do it all by hand, keyframe by frame, and make sure your subject is always in the right position. And what auto reframe does is basically, it does exactly that for you. So you don't have to waste your time doing that. It automatically tracks the most important content and quickly adjusts aspect ratios to make sure your content is properly framed up for different video formats. This video had a little bit of clickbait into it, I'm not gonna lie, but that was my huge confession. I kind of wish I was able to tell you guys about this whole new thing earlier when it actually got released. But here I am, late to the party, and I'm sorry, please forgive me. So yeah, don't be late to the party like Con. Get updated with the new tech out there to improve your workflow. If you are interested in finding out a little bit more about this for yourself, check out the links in the description. A big thank you to Dell and NVIDIA GeForce RTX for sponsoring today's video. And remember, you can help this channel out by clicking the like and subscribe button. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.